Welcome and welcome back. We're on Revival, and let's get into our questions and answers for this week. I've noticed you guys don't do any mobility posts. Do you even do mobility work?
Nope.
Not at all. You know, we're stiff as a board.
So let me answer the question I think people are asking. I think the question is about traditional mobility stuff. Like doing arm bars and halos and this kind of stretch and that kind of stretch. The idea of what is and isn't mobility work is really, really tricky. Do I do mobility work? Yes, I do a lot of mobility work, but a lot of it is breathing. A lot of it is working to offset my natural anatomical tendencies to compensate in a particular way. Sometimes I do that with breath. Sometimes I do that with strength. But let's dive into this a little deeper. So let's take an arm bar. What's an arm bar? Arm bar mobility, stability. Most people are like, oh, it's a mobility move. Okay, it could be.
Yeah, certain parts of your body it might be mobility, certain parts stability.
Yeah. So when you dig into an arm bar, if you don't know what an arm bar is, go off to the YouTube or ask the Google or whatever.
Or I'm sure we have one posted somewhere.
Yeah. But when you're in position and you've got your arm up, okay.
Yeah.
You're using stability. You're using those muscles. I think the idea, what a lot of people will say, is the narrative is, oh, an arm bar is a great T-spine mobility move.
Right.
It can be. One, though, to do a post on this is not bad to say, okay, this is a potential move that you can do, but to say, hey, loosen up your T-spine with an arm bar is going to be a problem for a lot, and I would even say most people.
Right.
First of all, when people do arm bars, I rarely see them actually training thoracic mobility. They're usually moving higher or lower. They're not moving the region that they're allegedly mobilizing.
Yeah, I actually see that in probably almost a lot of T-spine mobility type moves in nearly every exercise video sort of thing ever. It's just such a fine line right there.
Yeah, so that's the first issue. Are you really mobilizing what you're intending to mobilize? The second thing is, when you're doing the arm bar, why are you doing it? Are you doing it actually to mobilize in the first place? You have to ask that question. But let's say you are, if you were going to loosen up your thoracic spine, you need to stabilize something else. Every single human I've ever seen on the planet who has a T-spine that's tight or locked up or whatever you want to call it. These words are really wrong and bad, and they
locked down.
They cause a lot of confusion.
Jammed.
They cause a lot of confusion, because it almost alleges that they're trying to get back to this mythical place that no one can measure or identify.
Or like the last time your body moved perfectly, you were probably 18 months old and could squat and breathe properly.
It's not going to work because your body then was different than your body now. So
rubber
different
bones.
Strategy. Yeah, exactly. You've got totally different constitution. But if you want to mobilize something in here, get this to move better, I've never seen an example where I didn't need to get something stronger or more active or in a better position down here. So if I want to make this rotate better, then I need to strengthen something here. So if the purpose of the arm bar is to test this moving, then is the arm bar a thoracic mobility strategy, or is it an oblique strengthening stability exercise? Yeah, so it really it really depends on the way you look at it. It becomes problematic when you take exercises and you put them in a particular bucket. An arm bar does certain things. You can use it to mobilize, you can use it to stabilize, you can use it to become aware of certain things. But getting back to the specific question, we don't do a lot of mobility posts because the mobility posts out there are very generic and don't work for a lot of people. I would even say most people. So when you get someone like, oh, here's an awesome kettlebell mobility routine, for whom?
Yeah.
Like, we don't know. And for a lot of people, this awesome mobility routine is actually it could cause more do more harm than good, and we really don't know. So until we have a human, we have a context, we know what kind of problem we're trying to solve. We're looking at a specific exercise goal, we're looking at a joint, we're seeing what the joint does, we're examining the other joints around it, then we really aren't going to say, oh, this person needs, mobility, this person needs stability. We're going to say, we want this to happen, this joint's not letting it happen. what strategy can we use to
Yeah.
make this joint do what we want to achieve that goal?
And there's so
most
many.
people-
There's so many different things you could do. From the list goes on, and there's plenty out there,
So-
which makes sense. So maybe hire a solid professional in your area that knows what they're doing and can work with you hands-on. Might be a good approach. Or
Or what?
just keep going until things pop.
Yeah, that's also another
You
option.
know?
I like that. I like pop.
Yeah.
Like bubble
All
wrap.
right. Next question: is a mill with a mace superior to a halo with a kettlebell? Now we're pitting good versus evil. Okay, that's all right. That's all right. We're pitting good versus evil, or are we like comparing Superman to Flash Gordon on two different things? Does it matter? What are we talking about when it comes to these particular things, especially in the realm of mobility?
Well, show people what we think they are.
I think this is a
I'm
mill.
gonna stand over here.
So I do some mace work. Watch out, Roger. All right. So I think it's where you got to come around here no more, and just whoop. You know.
Okay, so you can go inside out, you can go
Yeah.
outside in,
Ooh.
maybe do two hands.
Ooh. Two hands, like
You're
that.
gonna get a similar
360-ish,
similar
yeah.
effect. I don't know.
Okay, so
Just-
that's a mill. All right. Not quite what I thought it was going to be. You know, a mill to me was lots of cash, but it's all right. And then we got our halo, and
no, it needs to touch your face the whole time.
Oh.
Yeah, need contact with your face.
grind it around. There you go. Okay.
So we run into trouble when we get into the idea, the same thing, the same topic of, what makes things mobile.
Yeah.
What is superior is going to really be dedicated or based on where your goals are.
Yeah.
So, the first thing we need to look at is if we're looking at something one-handed versus two-handed. As soon as you have two hands fixed on the kettlebell handle, you are limiting your mobility options. Okay? You're limiting how you move, what sort of strategy you're creating to get this kettlebell around your face. So, is that something you need? Are you doing, are you working for a movement where both of your hands are locked down? Then that may be a better strategy than
Just that
using
one
some
arm
sort of
club or something.
But when we look at the speed and we look at the range of motion, if we are looking to make precise movements with our joints in order to make them move better, then I have a little bit of trouble with doing something like a mill for that, unless I know everything's in position. So that would be an excellent exercise. And be clear, I like those. I do them regularly.
I just did them, in fact.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Good job. So there's nothing wrong with doing that. I would say to maintain mobility. Will it increase your mobility if your bones are not in the right place, whatever that right place is? Probably not, but maybe.
Yeah.
But you're really dealing with two different things. So the halo, it's slower, you have a lot more control. If you even look at the implement themselves, if you look at the mass of a kettlebell, okay, that's mostly going to be concentrated right in here. You're going to have your center of mass there.
Oh, okay.
Maybe displaced a little higher because we've got some extra stuff up top. Short handle, the way you grip it, you're going to have a horizontal grip versus a vertical grip. And here you've got your mass that's distributed a lot more evenly. Yes, there's going to be more up toward the head, but it's not going to be distributed the same way. So where you're gripping, the space between where you're actually grabbing that and where the weight is, that's going to create a totally different movement path. It's going to create lots of different sensations. So both can be great. And I would say, if you're looking to maintain your shoulder, how your shoulders move, and if you're looking to move them through, good 360 motion and
Internal, external.
you can maintain that, then I would say, yeah, a mill would be great for that. But if you're looking to, get your shoulders in a better place, and you got a little bit of shoulder pain, I'd say maybe that's not the right thing to do. So it really just depends on what your goal is. But they're different types of strength. One is going to be more of a slow strength. The other one's going to be a ballistic strength. You're going to get different physiological responses, different path of motion, different moment arms. There's a lot that's different between those two moves. So it's really hard to compare them.
All right, so one's not better than the other. Just depends who you are
I'd say that's fair.
and what you're trying to do. I love using the mills and the 360s and stuff like that for warming up. Maybe it's because I'm happy with where my shoulders are at for now.
Could
For
be.
now.
For now.
For now. I saw someone doing a kettlebell bicep curl with their deadlift as a part of a complex. Does this make sense to you?
So this was a question I got, and someone sent me this clip of this complex. It was on YouTube, and guy was in great shape. He's on the beach.
Ripped.
He's all ripped and rippling. He had like a big manly beard.
Yeah.
That, like solves virility problems in the elderly. Like he was.
Was
really,
it made of grapes?
No.
Oh, okay. I always picture that they're made of grapes.
That's weird.
Grape beard.
But you know, and clearly the gentleman doing this complex with what appeared to be based on the color of the kettlebell to be a 16 kilogram kettlebell, clearly did not get in the shape doing this complex.
Oh, you mean this guy is it gonna make me that ripped? Okay.
So, you know, we again, you know, we all
So like that?
kind of. He flipped it over though.
Oh.
Yeah, he flipped it. Yeah.
That makes sense.
And just to be clear, we are not the you don't do curls with kettlebells people. We don't do the no single joint exercises because that stuff's dumb. There's usually a time and a place for just about everything. But I would say what we have issue with is one, the representation that you're going to build significant amounts of muscle with a single bell complex of that weight is kind of silly. Can you build muscle with complexes? Absolutely. But you probably need 2 kettlebells, and they need to be heavy. Now,
A little bit of a challenge, you know,
yeah.
but
Maybe he was going light because he was demonstrating, and that's totally cool. He was clearly more interested in the way it looked.
Yeah.
And I think that's the trap that a lot of people fall into is people want things to look interesting, and they think, oh, my training's getting boring. You know, I understand that can happen, but when you look at the difference between what one can curl and what one can deadlift, the fact that they're using the same weight, you know, means that he's probably not challenging anything sufficiently to create any sort of training effect. Do you know how much you can curl off the top of your head?
well, I was just gonna say, like, I know that you're right around the 485, maybe 500 deadlift. Are you curling that too?
I'm
520. You know?
No. Yeah.
I mean, top of my head curls.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's enough weight.
So you know that's the big problem is the weight discrepancy. So you know when we are creating exercises or when we're linking things together, we need to think to ourselves, okay, does this weight train this movement effectively, successfully? And sometimes you just want to move, and that's fine. You know, if you want to do a light, you know, if I do a light get up, let's say with a 24 kilo kettlebell. And I do a windmill at the top, which I don't usually, but let's say I did just because I want to move around, totally cool. But I can do get-ups with the 48 kilo kettlebell without a real issue. And I've never tried a windmill with that weight. Maybe I could pull it off, but I don't think it's a good idea. It doesn't really do what a windmill is designed to do. So you know, you really need to think about what weight am I using and how I put all of these things together to actually train. If you want to move, then just pick a move, you know, like I said, a 24 kilo kettlebell, cool. Will I ever add a deadlift into a complex?
It's kind of hard, I think, unless like deadlift squat, maybe you can pop it up into something, but I don't know.
It's the if you're looking to do some sort of, you know, maybe movement quality work, cool, but I mean, you know, a 48 kilo deadlift for me isn't going to do anything.
It's like a little warm up, maybe. Just kind of.
So,
I mean,
you know, I can squat with it and I
Yeah.
can press with it. Awesome. I can swing with it. But when it gets into just doing a regular deadlift, maybe an offset deadlift as a part of a complex later on.
yeah,
Okay.
it could go a long ways,
But you got to think about where your relative levels are, and I would not add a bicep curl.
yeah. But could you do like, let's say you had a challenging weight to deadlift, and then you hopped over and did some bicep curls after?
I would do that.
There you go, and you know,
Use
maybe
two-
you would get
use
that
two
ripped
things.
looks. You know, use two
Two
things. You know, just. You know, I would even say like this is just a testament to like when you see things on the internet, you know, don't just automatically assume that this person is doing it and you're going to do it and you're going to be like that person. you know, probably won't, because it doesn't ever work that way. You know, it takes years, it takes a lot of weight to be whatever or not. So,
True.
yeah.
Yeah.
Should we do a bicep curl with those 20s?
Go ahead. Let's see you do it.
With that?
It's a thick handle.
Okay, that is.
Ooh, let's see if you can pull it off.
Oh boy, this is meaty. All right, so was it like that? Yeah. That's all right. Yeah.
You feel jacked now? I bet your
I
arms,
think this tore.
how your legs feel.
I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to poop today. And my legs hurt. All right, that was too far. I'm not even gonna cut that out though. Anything else on that?
No, I think
No,
we're
okay,
good.
there was one more, but we won't get into that today. Hey, thanks for checking us out. Remember, like our shit because we like you, and it's only fair.
He does.
Yeah, and then put a comment, and if you want to know our answer to something, put it in there. We'll answer it, either in a video or right back at you. Anything else?
No.
Stay strong.